Well, howdy, physics sleuths and inquisitive souls, and welcome again to another lecture of dynamic gravity. So, in this lecture, I wanted to go off and kind of not showcase, but show you something that I noticed a couple months ago that I thought was really cool. And it was kind of like a natural homemade laser. It's kind of weird. Never seen anything like it before, and I really didn't see much online talking about this effect. So while I'm sure I'm not the first to notice it, doesn't seem to be too many people concerned about it or trying to use it for much. So bust on that a little bit. First, though, more important news. Hope you're doing well. This, our final year of the Great Tribulation. That's right. If you are new to my channel, you don't know, I believe we are firmly in the final year of the Great Tribulation. And things are getting crazy. They're starting to kick up now, boy. Woo, Putin is making some serious threats, hot-headed threats about nuking all of NATO. And he ain't bluffing. He ain't bluffing one bit. And I think you're going to see as time goes on over this next year, he's going to keep getting more and more aggravated and upset at NATO until he just eventually gets so pissed off he pushes that button, whatever drives him over the edge. Maybe someone assassinates his daughter, granddaughter, try to kill him again. Who knows? Something's going to happen to him. He's going to freak out and he's going to push that button. He might even have to. Might not have to push the button. A lot of people are like, there could never be a nuke because the Russia tried to nuke us once and they had an officer that didn't do it. So that would happen again. Cool story, bro. Let me tell you what they just did. About a year ago, Putin saw that coming. And being the psychopath he is, he nipped that right in the butt, buddy. He's got a system, a doomsday system installed over all of Russia. If it detects any nuclear attack on Russia, bam, automatically fires the whole load, everything. And you got your mind, you think you can't trick out those sensors on purpose or accidentally. So I'm rereading the Bible all over again. I've already learned some information that might help me pin down the exact date that the nukes are going to drop. It's coming though. You guys got about a year left, so act accordingly. But I digress. Today is about nature's lasers. So let's take a gander at that, shall we? So on vacation, and I noticed something. I was looking out on my balcony, and the sun was coming up, and I was getting blinded by like this light shooting into my eye, and I'm like, what is that? And so I'm looking at it, and it was like a laser beam being shot to me by these little goblets of light. And as I moved my head around, it would switch from one goblet of droplet of water to the next. And the angle that the sun was about, I don't know, 15, 20 degrees up. And then I was another 15 or 20 degrees up. So it was complete reflection at that angle. But there's more than that. There's more than just a reflection because it was way too bright for a reflection. I mean, I got up like right next to it and it was super bright, like blinding bright. And I got all the way as far as I could, like 20 feet away in the back of my room to see the angle still. And it was still super bright. It was still like laser bright. It was crazy. So, this is pretty crazy. And you can see how high this thing, how bright it's glowing, okay? That's very bright. And you can almost see the laser diffraction in this picture, all right here. It was there, I assure you. I can attest. It looked like little tendrils growing out from the light source, branching out. And the tall tale mark of, I believe it's diffraction from all the, not diffraction, but is it diffraction maybe? All the waves as they're adding up together, they're canceling each other out in some locations and amplifying in other, and then you end up with this crazy looking laser diffraction pattern right on the dot. And this had it. So this was definitely amplifying the light somehow through a pin outlet, through a small outlet. It was taking more light in and pushing it, amplifying it into a smaller spot. But more than that, because that would just be like a lens, right? Let's see here. Yeah, so lasers are light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So just because you amplify light doesn't make it a laser, technically, by definition. It has to be through the emission of radiation, which usually involves throwing electricity and letting the electrons, go higher energy state orbital and then release that energy and dump it in a photon. And when that photon gets, see there, absorbs energy usually from electrical energy, and it shoots it up to a higher energy orbital or down, whatever the case may be, and then releases it, the photon. But the photon doesn't just emit out, because then it would just be a light. Because what makes it a laser is that it's concentrated. It all gets bounced around wherever it's in, like, bounced around. Let's see if we have a good picture of it here. Maybe not. There's the angle of reflection would be like boop, and then refraction would be where it keeps going through, but it gets bent depending on the density of the material that it's going into, right? So a lens would just be taking this and concentrating it down there. But to get the laser diffraction pattern, the light has to bounce around somehow. It has to bounce around and then come out. And then when it comes out, now it interferes with itself like in all sorts of crazy ways. And then you get that crazy, laser diffraction thing. Divergent lens, diverging lens versus converging lens. Yeah, see, here we go. So the light's coming in and bouncing off at an angle and shooting out, like a prism here. But somehow it's coming in and shooting, bouncing around all different ways and then coming out, behaving more like an optical fiber, right? Like optical fiber. That's what optical fiber does. It will come in, and then they use the angled reflection to where the angle is always enough that the light will bounce off it and just ping, 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 all the way down until it comes out and shoots out, right? But that's still just reflection going one way. So when you have a laser dot, you see these diffraction patterns right here. They're like coming out, like where the wavelengths are interfering with itself. Indicative of a laser, all right? And I don't know exactly how it's deflecting back and forth the light drop, okay? To where it all comes out the same side. Maybe it's not, and there's some trick, or maybe it was, and there was something to do with the medium that it was stuck to, like the thing, the rail. But what's interesting is I couldn't find this happening. Anybody talking about this from light hitting like droplets anywhere on the internet. But I did see this guy, all right?
Andrew from Gemba Red, and today we're going to see if we can use a red photography ball to turn sunlight into a laser-like, deep penetrating red light therapy. So let's just
So
kilowatts
what
per
he
centimeter.
does is he's taking a light reading just from the sun, right? And it's at like a, 50, right? 50 wavelength strength, whatever. Peak through 51. The 50 is like the strength of it, I believe. I don't know how to use this thing, but I'm assuming that's the strength of it, I'm pretty sure.
They're squared here in the winter.
So-
Now this red ball can focus the
So you
light
can see, it's definitely focusing it.
into a nice little pinpoint,
when you measure
or if you
the
press it
output-
into the skin, you're using essentially the intensity.
Now it goes from 50 to 500. That little red orb magnified the light 10 times. Over 10 times. Over 10 times. And doubled the peak wavelength from 300 to 600, which is, all red light. So
Of a laser, we
only
went
thing I
from
could
50
find
milliwatts per centimeter.
or anyone's talking about trying to use like something to amplify light like this. And this is just, I think he's trying to look at it as a lens, not trying to create like a laser, right? But if we could create a laser versus a lens from like droplets of water, then that could be really useful because we could use that to dump a lot of thermal energy because it would heat up whatever we hit it with. And then we could use that for like solar farms, right? See, these are all like concave mirrors. I think they might even be concave, but they're mirrors. They're trying to amplify and redirect as much of the light into a small spot as possible. But if you were to use like droplets, right, of water, I mean, there's a lot of advantages. First of all, water is super cheap. Second of all, you could have like in a container that would be a rigid, keep the same shape, dimensions that you want, but you could pump more water in there to let it expand the way you want it to, or take water out. So you could change the angle of the lens as the light's hitting it in real time. Just, you could have that all computerly driven. So I believe, now I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that the light coming from this thing right here, I believe it's more powerful than if it were just like a lens. I believe there's an actual laser effect coming on there somehow. I don't have time to investigate. I got way too much stuff going on with my anti-gravity research and a bunch of other stuff got going on right now. But I believe there's something here. I believe this is an underutilized aspect of physics we could use for something. Definitely a lot of work going in to find out the exact metrics involved on how to finagle the droplet of water or the water lens you're using to get it to have the right refractive properties. Because there was like 100 drops on this. There was like 100 drops on this thing. Look at all these drops, and all this down here. There's another rail too, and it was only like one light at a time. It was very, very. The light had to hit it at just the right angle, or it wasn't going to pop at all. So it is fickle, but I just saw this and it just, it blew me away. I saw a blinding light, from a droplet, 20 feet away, and it would have gone back a lot further, I'm sure. I could still see that diffraction pattern of the laser 20 feet away, 30 feet away, looking at this drop in the back of the room. So it's definitely powerful. It's definitely it could be used. It's harnessing and focusing the energy of the sun into a very pinpoint. And if we get enough of those, well, I mean, sky's the limit. All sorts of crazy things you could do. Sun's out every day, all day long. That's free energy you could harness doing whatever. But yeah, this will be a short episode. I just wanted to go into that because I thought I'd share that because that was something I saw that I thought was intriguing personally. I wish I could give you a little more information about it, like how to mess with the light drops to get better, more performance, or find out what exactly how the angles going on the light go. But another day, another dollar. I have to wait. All right, have fun. Catch you on the flip side.
Like, subscribe, submit.